Miss Lisa Fields, you've written a new book. When
Yes.
Faith Disappoints, where were you at when you said, okay, I've got to stop doing what I'm already doing? It's already busy, and I got to write a book. Where were you at?
Just my normal day to day. I've been wanting to write this book for some time. I've
Oh,
had those pain points kind of ruminating. I've spoken on them in lectures. And so it was finally time to get it down in the book. I think this was a right time for me to write this with the culmination of life experience and where we are as an organization. I thought it was a good time to finally get a book out there.
well, I want to start with the organization to a certain degree because what you've done has just been incredible. And so when I saw the title, When Faith Disappoints, I don't know you at all, Lisa, but when I think of you, I think of ambitious, faith driven. So I'm trying to figure out, when has faith ever disappointed you? Because it's always one thing to the next for you. And I love seeing it. I love seeing what God's done. But were you like, okay, I think I need to write this, or what made you just go, okay, I'm gonna just tell my whole soul here because I don't give away any details here because you lay it all out here.
Yeah, I really think so. When I first sat down to write this book, I was not going to write the way I wrote. It was going to
Okay.
be kind of how to talk to people who have been disappointed by faith. But as I thought about the work I've been doing, thought about the number of people I know that have left the faith, the conversations I've had with skeptics and Christians, they
Mm,
really needed something from me that was relatable. Um, they didn't need me to talk at them, they needed me to talk with them. And I feel like this book was me talking with them, sharing my pain so they can understand that their pain is a part of the human experience. And I really felt like in order to engage culture effectively, I needed to be incarnational in my approach.
mm. Lisa, when I'm reading books often, sometimes I'll get books and I'll go, man, the author is just they're enjoying the whole process. And sometimes I'll look at books, I'll go, they enjoyed the whole process, but there seem to be some ebbs and flows here, and there seems to be a little bit of counseling going on at the same time. So when you were sharing your story, was there any bit of a I'm going to counseling after I get done writing this? Or were you just
Yeah, so a part of my regular life is therapy. So I have a therapist that I see
yeah,
every two
you'll be
weeks.
both. Yeah.
And so as I was writing, she was in the process with me.
Oh,
So yeah.
one of the things I love about the book was you talk about your work becoming an identity of who you are. And
Mhm.
for a lot of us who are in this mode of turning, stuff over all the time and being out in the open, it can become that. When did you realize that was becoming you, though?
Yeah, I think I didn't realize it till I talk about in the book that therapy session where
Oh,
my therapist said you are not Jude 3.
wow.
Essentially, like there is Jude 3 project, but there is Lisa, and you have merged the two. And so I think it was that conversation with her where I realized unconsciously that I had intertwined the two and not really living a life apart from my work.
Hmm. Um, you're you're in it all when it comes to the I would say evangelicalism and the faith department. Where are we at right now, Lisa, when you take a look at where things are going?
Yeah, I think we're in a unique moment. I
I saw
am.
your face, by the way, and I've done the same thing too. So I just go, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, yeah, I think we're in a unique moment because there is obviously all kinds of
Hmm,
frustrations people have with the faith. But
yeah.
also, I think, I always say when it's dark outside, it's our time as believers to shine. And so I think we have a unique opportunity to be light to a generation that is struggling with so much darkness, so much depression, so much anxiety. And we really offer the peace that surpasses all understanding, because we offer a Christ that's able to give peace, able to heal. And so we have what the world needs. But I think for the church, we need to allow God to heal us so we can be agents of healing to the world.
Mhm.
And I really see that as really a process I had to go through even before I wrote this book. While it will be healing and transformative for people, I had to do the personal work for it to be that way. And I think the church needs to do the same thing.
Jude 3 is amazing, obviously.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit of your journey of how you founded that? You talk about in the book a little bit, and it kind of goes to my next question is how'd you keep going even when you had donors who would tell you things like, I'll get back to you in a year. And for those of us who are in this department, coming back in a year, we're not be here in a year. And so, how did you keep going when you had those kind of conversations and starting Jude 3?
Yeah, so I started to answer your first part of your question. Started Jude 3 in February of 2014 as a seminary student. I was um, in my second year of seminary. We had our first event while I was in my third year of seminary, which is July 12th, 2014. And people always ask me, how did you start it? It wasn't my goal to start an apologetics organization. I'm a PK, and the last thing I wanted to do was be in ministry. However, God had a different plan. And it was really an undergrad where I was getting really, my faith was becoming my own. And so I decided to take a New Testament class as an elective. And I didn't realize New Testament at a university was different than Sunday school. And so I really struggled through that. I went through my first faith crisis. And my father introduced me to apologetics because I was really struggling in that class, trying to figure out if I believed what I believed. And so going through getting apologetic material was really helpful. But as I started, immersing myself in apologetics, I didn't see Black and brown people represented in large part. Usually outside of Ravi Zacharias, everybody was older white men that led apologetics. And so I
Yeah.
was like, we need something that would help bridge the gap for our communities. And that's kind of when the passion for taking apologetics to our communities was birthed. And then it kind of just developed over time. I didn't know Jude 3 would become what it became, what it has become, and it's still becoming. When I started it, it really was just a passion project that I was hoping God would do something with.
Hmm. Uh, Lisa, can we talk about a very important day coming up here on Wednesday, Juneteenth?
Mhm.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah, we have a whole film in
Yeah.
partnership with Our Daily Bread around Juneteenth. I think Juneteenth to me is a reminder that God hears the oppressed, that God hears the cries of his people, our ancestors that were crying out for freedom. Juneteenth is a reminder that God heard them.
Hmm.
So it is a reminder of the faithfulness of God. It is a reminder that God hears the prayers of those who are suffering. And it reminds me that he is a God that liberates.
Hmm. Um, Last question about the book here. Next last question. I do want to ask you about your conference coming up in August. The book comes out right around the same time as the conference. Lisa,
Yes.
very perfectly planned. By would expect nothing less. What are you looking forward to about the conference?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing how people wrestle through their pain points.
Yeah.
So each, as you know, the chapters are different pain points that we experience: peace, personhood, pleasure, a number of others. They are all alliterated, which I love. But each panel will be a pain point. And
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how the people we look up to, the scholars, the thought leaders, pastors, have approached their pain points and wrestled with them, and hearing that, because I know how I wrestle with them. So it's good to invite others to tell others, to help others in the audience wrestle with them that are wrestling with pain as well.
about, I'm glad you brought that up because this is my last question. Did you leave out any pain point in here that when you look back, you go, I should have put that one in?
Um, I think maybe people could have been one,
Okay.
a pain point of people.
Yeah.
But I think it was sprinkled throughout all the chapters in different ways. Uh, I do know that people are really wrestling with hypocrisy in the church, hurt, and so maybe I would have devoted a whole chapter to that. But I think it is sprinkled throughout in how I talk about reconciliation, forgiveness, challenging relationships throughout the book. So it is sprinkled in there. That's the only one I think about.
So it sounds like when you hit send to the editors, it sounds like you said it all. I mean, am I hearing that correctly?
I think I said enough for that book. I
There's
have
another one. There's another one coming out. Okay.
I'm thinking through two more right now.
I don't
So
know how you do it, Lisa. I don't want to know how you do it. When I see your schedule
I
and
haven't written them yet, so I'm just thinking about them.